Welcome, gentle dreamer and traveler through time. Tonight, as the noise of the world fades and the rhythm of your breath becomes your only compass, you will journey far beyond the present moment, across oceans of memory and centuries of calm, into the radiant heart of ancient Greece. This is not merely a bedtime tale. It is a slow-moving tide meant to wash the day from your mind. A history sleep story, a soft descent into peace. Take a deep, steady breath, in through the nose and slowly out through the mouth. Feel your shoulders sink, the small muscles at the base of your neck loosen, and the weight of the day slide gently away. The light in the room dims in your imagination until it becomes a single ember. Around you is stillness, the kind of quiet that exists only when time itself seems to hold its breath. With every exhale, you drift closer to the edge of another world. First comes sound, the hush of waves lapping against a stony shore. Then scent, sea salt, olive leaves, and wild thyme carried on a warm breeze. You open your inner eyes and find yourself standing beside the Aegean Sea. The water stretches endlessly, a vast mirror of liquid glass touched by the last pale gold of the setting sun. Behind you rise gentle hills lined with silver-green olive trees. Before you, the horizon blushes as the first evening star appears. The air tastes ancient, as if each breath has travelled across thousands of years to find you. Far off, scattered across a slope, stand small, whitewashed houses. Their walls glow faintly pink under the fading sky, and thin curls of smoke drift upward from cooking fires. The smell of baked bread mingles with the sea air, and somewhere a voice laughs, a low, contented sound carried faintly on the wind. You begin to walk down a narrow path of pale dust, the stones warm beneath your feet. Each step pulls you deeper into calm. Cypress trees sway gently beside you, their dark silhouettes etched against the horizon. A nightingale begins to sing, its song slow and liquid, echoing softly through the dusk. The rhythm of that melody matches your breathing, steady, calm, almost eternal. Here, in this place, time moves differently. It is measured not by clocks or glowing screens, but by the rising of the sun and the lull of the tide, by the ripening of olives and the telling of stories beside the fire. You feel your heartbeat align with the ancient rhythm of the earth itself. Somewhere nearby, the delicate notes of a lyre drift through the warm air. The tune is wistful, each string vibrating gently before fading back into the sea's whisper. The music feels familiar, as though it has waited centuries for you to return. And within that music, a voice seems to murmur, calm, distant, yet close enough to feel. Welcome to ancient Greece, where gods and mortals share the same stars, where philosophers speak to the sea, and every breath of wind carries a fragment of eternity. You step to the edge of the water. Cool waves slide across your feet, then retreat, leaving small crescents of foam upon the stones. The moon appears, full and bright, its reflection trembling on the surface like a living thing. The night air hums softly, part sea, part silence, and you sense that the border between past and dream has thinned. Thoughts that once crowded your mind loosen and drift away. The day's noise dissolves into mist until all that remains is the slow rhythm of breath and the gentle pull of curiosity. You wonder what it truly felt like to live here, to wake with the sun and the cry of roosters, to eat figs and honey beneath olive branches, to walk among marble temples that gleamed like captured moonlight. You imagine the markets of Athens alive with voices, the laughter of children echoing through narrow streets, the distant chant of prayers offered to unseen gods. Each image drifts gently through your mind like petals on water, soothing and unhurried. In this story, You will not simply observe this world, you will live within it. You will meet the fishermen who mend their nets by the harbour's edge, the sculptor who shapes marble into the image of heroes, the philosopher who pauses by the sea at dusk to wonder about the soul. You will taste the sweetness of the air, feel the dust of the streets beneath your feet, and hear the same waves that lulled generations before you to sleep. Every moment will unfold slowly, guiding you deeper into the calm current of history. Take another easy breath. The stars multiply overhead, bright pinpoints scattered across the vast velvet sky. Their light glows silver on the water, and the soft hush of the tide seems to whisper your name. The boundary between now and then dissolves completely. You are both listener and traveller, both dreamer and witness. Ancient Greece opens itself like a book written in moonlight, and each page you turn brings you closer to rest. The sound of the lyre fades until it becomes no more than a shimmer in the distance. The waves breathe in and out, calm and steady, their rhythm matching your own. The air is warm, fragrant, timeless. You feel yourself drifting, weightless, unhurried, suspended between waking and dream. You are safe here. The world beyond this moment has grown silent, and the story before you stretches endlessly into peace. The journey is about to begin, but for now, remain here a little longer, on the quiet shore of the Aegean, listening to the water, breathing the same air as the ancients, and letting sleep draw closer with each gentle heartbeat. You take another deep breath, slow and easy, as if drawing the air of this ancient world into your very soul. The soft wind curls around you, carrying the faint murmur of voices, a language you don't quite know, but somehow understand. It flows like water, each syllable rolling gently, soothingly, like the tide that brushes the shore. The scent of olive wood smoke lingers in the air, mingling with the salt and thyme. You look down the shoreline, and there, glimmering faintly in the moonlight, a small path winds its way toward the village. You begin to walk. Your bare feet meet smooth stones, warm from the day's sun, cooling now in the soft breath of evening. Each step feels lighter, as though the earth itself welcomes your presence. Somewhere in the distance, a shepherd hums a tune. The notes drift lazily across the hills, blending with the rhythmic hum of cicadas. You move slowly, unhurried. This journey is not one of haste, but of presence, of simply being. The path bends gently upward, lined with wildflowers that brush your ankles. Their scent is delicate, faintly sweet, lavender, sage, and something like honey warmed by the sun. The air grows stiller as you climb, until all you hear is your own breath, steady and calm. The horizon opens before you, revealing a wide valley bathed in moonlight. Far below, the roofs of homes glow like pearls scattered across a dark sea. The hum of life continues faintly, the echo of laughter, a faint clang of metal from a forge, the distant bleating of goats. You stop for a moment to take it in. The stars above are endless, so many, so bright, that it seems they are closer here than anywhere else. Perhaps in this place they truly are. You remember stories you once heard, of gods who walked among mortals, of Zeus who watched from Olympus, of Athena who whispered wisdom into the minds of thinkers and dreamers. It's said that even the stars themselves were once heroes, placed there by divine hands so their memory would never fade. You look up, and for a brief moment, you feel that old myth stirring. the sense that the universe itself is alive, breathing, and that you are a part of its rhythm. As you walk again, you notice the soft flicker of torches in the distance. The village lies ahead, quiet now, but not asleep. Shadows move slowly behind curtained windows, and the faint sound of a lyre carries through the night. The melody is simple, almost childlike, yet filled with a kind of gentle longing. It speaks of love and loss, of peace found after struggle, of the enduring calm that follows every storm. You reach the first of the houses. Its walls are white and smooth, built from stone and clay, and the door stands slightly open. From within comes the aroma of lentils simmered with herbs and freshly baked bread cooling on a wooden table. You linger by the doorway, listening to the soft murmur of voices inside. A family sharing the last meal of the day, speaking of simple things. The harvest, the sea, a neighbour's newborn child. Their laughter is quiet, unforced, the kind that rises and falls like the tide. You smile faintly. It's a life that feels slower, more deliberate, grounded in rhythm and repetition. The world here does not rush. It breathes, expands, and contracts in harmony with the seasons. There is beauty in its stillness, a reminder that existence itself can be simple and still be full. Beyond the houses lies the Agora, the heart of the village. You walk there slowly, guided by the glow of oil lamps that hang from wooden posts. The square is empty now, but during the day it would have been alive with merchants, storytellers, and travellers. You imagine the colours of pottery glinting in the sun, the sound of sandals scuffing on stone, the call of traders offering olives, figs, and fish fresh from the sea. Even in silence, the place holds its echo. You can almost hear the faint voices that linger in the stones, the breath of conversations long ended, but never forgotten. It's said that words spoken in truth never truly vanish. They live on in the air, waiting for someone to listen again. Tonight, you are that listener. You stand in the quiet Agora, eyes closed, letting the whispers of 1,000 ordinary lives flow gently through you. From somewhere behind the square, a bell rings softly. One, then another. It marks the hour of rest. The fires will burn low soon, and the town will sleep. You follow the sound until you find yourself at the edge of a temple. Its marble steps gleam faintly under the moonlight, smooth and cool to the touch. Columns rise like pillars of light, etched with stories in stone. Between them burns a single flame, steady and golden, tended by a lone figure draped in pale linen. The priestess moves slowly, her gestures measured and fluid, like the tide or the turning of the stars. She does not see you, but somehow she knows you are there. Her voice rises softly in prayer, words in an ancient tongue, melodic and calm. Though you cannot translate them, you feel their meaning. They are a prayer for peace, for safe journeys, for the quiet endurance of all living things. When her voice fades, only the crackle of the flame remains. The air feels warmer here, filled with the scent of olive oil and smoke. You close your eyes again and listen, not just with your ears, but with the quiet space behind your thoughts. You feel the heartbeat of this world pulsing gently beneath your feet, the same rhythm that has carried through countless centuries. From the first fires lit by humankind to the quiet glow of the one before you now. The priestess turns, her face serene, illuminated by the golden light. For a heartbeat, her gaze meets yours, not startled, not curious, but knowing. She gives a small nod, as though acknowledging your presence, and then turns back to the flame. You realize then that you have crossed the threshold fully. You are not an observer now, but a part of this world, breathing the same air, standing beneath the same sky. Somewhere in the distance, the sea murmurs again, soft and steady. The village settles into sleep, and you too begin to feel the pull of stillness, the weightless calm that comes when every sound slows, every thought softens. The journey has begun. Ancient Greece welcomes you, not as a stranger, but as someone who has finally come home.
You realize how still the body must be to think deeply, how calm the world must become to invite reflection. This is a civilization that loves not noise, but order, geometry in buildings, rhythm in words, proportion in everything from temples to speech. Around you, harmony seems to hum invisibly, binding the smallest sound to the largest thought. Past the fountain stands a line of houses. Their doors are painted in shades of terracotta and sea blue. Vines climb up their sides, flowering with small purple blossoms that smell faintly of pepper. A cat stretches on a sunlit wall, its fur golden in the light. A boy sits nearby, carving a small wooden horse, his knife moving carefully, his face a portrait of concentration. When he notices you, he smiles shyly, then returns to his task. Time here belongs to him, as it belongs to everyone in broken, wide, impatient. You pause beside a shrine at the corner of the street. It is small, only a few stones stacked beneath a painted image of a goddess. Someone has left offerings, a cluster of grapes, a few coins, a sprig of rosemary. A candle burns there still, its flame barely trembling in the breeze. The wax scent mingles with herbs and dust, creating a fragrance both ancient and clean. You feel a quiet reverence and awareness that life here is a dialogue between human and divine, between effort and grace. As the sun climbs higher, light floods the rooftops. The white walls dazzle. The air begins to shimmer with heat. From the harbor comes the deep, distant creak of ships moored at their posts, ropes tightening as the tide shifts. Sailors call out lazily, voices carrying across the water. The day stretches open like a scroll waiting to be written upon. You wander toward the edge of the village where fields begin. Rows of barley sway in slow waves. Beyond them, olive groves roll toward the horizon, and the faint outline of a temple rises against the sky. Marble columns gleam pale against the blue. Even from here, you can sense its silence, the still gravity of sacred space, the hum of bees, the whisper of grass. The sigh of wind through cypress trees all seem to bow toward it. You stop beneath a fig tree, heavy with fruit. Its branches arch low, their leaves broad and green. The air beneath it is cool, scented with sap and sweetness. You sit in the shade and watch sunlight flicker through the leaves, dappling the ground with shifting gold. Somewhere nearby, a river runs, soft and unhurried. Whispering over stones polished smooth by centuries, the quiet fills you completely. For a moment, you forget what century you came from, what name you carry, even where your body lies, listening. You are simply a soul at rest inside the rhythm of another world. The road bends gently, curving around a slope where the grass glows pale gold. You follow its path toward the city that lies beyond the beating heart of the Greek world. The wind is warm now, carrying hints of the sea mixed with the dry sweetness of stone. As you walk, the sound of distant lyres drifts faintly across the air, each note rising and fading like a memory. The first glimpse of the city appears between olive trees, a line of marble columns, the crest of a wall, and roofs glinting like shells in sunlight. At its center stands the Acropolis, lifted proudly above everything, its temples shining white against the blue. The scene is both familiar and dreamlike, as if you are walking into a story whispered to you in childhood. Every sound is clear, yet softened by distance, the low murmur of the marketplace, the rhythmic beat of hammers from the forge, and the call of gulls circling high above. You enter through a wide stone gate where two guards stand watch. Their bronze helmets catch the light like fire, but their expressions are calm. One nods politely, the gesture neither strict nor suspicious, but welcoming. Beyond the gate, the road widens into the Agora, the public square of the city. The air hums with life, yet feels strangely serene, as though the movement of hundreds of people has found a single, shared rhythm. Merchants stand behind stalls, shaded with linen awnings. The colors are soft, clay, sea blue, sun-faded ochre. Bronze bowls gleam in neat rows. Amphorae, filled with olive oil, give off a faint, fruity scent. Women carry baskets of figs and bread. A group of children play a quiet game with pebbles, their laughter light and musical. In one corner, an old man sits weaving nets, his fingers moving so slowly it seems time itself pauses to match his pace. Near the center of the square stands a statue of Athena. Her marble face is calm, her eyes serene, her spear resting lightly at her side. Fresh garlands of laurel and white lilies adorn her feet. As you draw closer, you notice that the stone beneath your sandals is worn smooth by countless generations who have passed this way. The whisper of their footsteps seems to echo faintly under yours, as though the past still breathes through every grain of marble. A gentle voice draws your attention. A philosopher sits nearby beneath a cypress tree, speaking softly to a few gathered listeners. His robe is plain, his tone patient, his hands folded as he asks questions rather than answers them. You listen quietly as he speaks a balance between courage and caution, body and soul, dream and discipline. His words drift through you like wind through leaves. Even without effort, they plant a seed of reflection that will linger long after the sound has faded. You move again through the Agora, letting the slow current of life carry you. A potter displays painted vases showing myths of gods and mortals. A sculptor chisels a block of marble, each tap of his hammer like a heartbeat. A group of women spin wool, the threads gliding smoothly through their fingers. The air smells of olive oil, beeswax, and freshly baked bread. Everywhere there is purpose, but no rush only. It's a steady grace of people working in rhythm with daylight. You follow a side street that leads uphill. The path is lined with whitewashed homes, each with a small courtyard shaded by vines. The hum of bees fills the air, and somewhere nearby, a flute plays soft, unhurried, echoing gently through the alleys. You pause at a doorway where an elderly woman kneels beside a clay pot, watering herbs. She smiles as you pass and offers a handful of mint leaves, their scent crisp and calming. You tuck them into your palm and thank her quietly. She nods once, satisfied, and returns to her work, humming to herself. As you climb higher, the city unfolds behind you. From this height, the rooftops shimmer like goldfish scales beneath the sun. Beyond them, the sea stretches endless and blue, dotted with sails that gleam white against the horizon. For a moment, you simply stand there, breathing it all in the salt air, the warmth, the stillness that hums beneath the movement of life. At last, you reach the temple terrace. The marble beneath your feet is cool and luminous. Pillars rise around you, enormous yet elegant, catching the sunlight in veins of gold and shadow. Inside, the air is hushed, scented with incense and a faint trace of oil lamps. The sound of your breath feels sacred here, as though even silence has weight and texture. You approach the inner sanctum where a priest tends the flame of the altar. He moves slowly, reverently, adding oil, whispering a prayer that speaks not of fear but gratitude. You stand quietly, letting the warmth of the flame wash across your skin. Its light flickers like the pulse of something eternal. You realize that to these people, the divine is not distant. It lives in the sea breeze, in the pattern of stars, in the whisper of reeds by the river. It lives in the man now, in you too. Outside the temple, a path leads toward the countryside. You follow it down, away from marble and into green. The hum of the city fades, replaced by the steady music of wind and birds. Soon, you find yourself walking beside a vineyard. Rows of grapevines stretch across the hills, their leaves shining in the afternoon light. Workers move slowly between them, harvesting fruit into wicker baskets. They laugh softly among themselves, speaking in gentle tones that rise and fall like waves. You pass them quietly, greeted with a smile or a nod. Their contentment feels contagious. At the edge of the vineyard stands a small farmhouse, its walls the color of sun-bleached clay. Chickens wander lazily through the yard, pecking at the dust. A dog lies in the shade, tail flicking lazily. The door is open, and from inside comes the sound of quiet conversation, the cadence of a family at peace. Someone is preparing food. The air smells of roasted olives and fresh bread. You sit on a nearby stone and rest for a moment, feeling the gentle press of sunlight against your face. In the distance, the sea glimmers again. The tide is turning, drawing a soft shimmer of silver toward shore. You hear faint laughter in the rhythmic splash of oars as fishermen guide their boats back to harbor. Their voices are calm, like echoes of an ancient lullaby that the waves have memorized over centuries. As the sun begins its descent, shadows stretch long and golden across the land. The hills glow with the warm light of evening. From somewhere unseen, a lyre begins to play again, its strings trembling softly in the breeze. The melody is both mournful and tender, a song of endings that feels like rest. You begin to walk back toward the city, the light dimming gently around you. Lamps flicker to life in windows, their flames soft and steady. The streets are quiet now. A child's laughter echoes faintly, then fades. You pass the same statue of Athena as before. Her marble face glows faintly in the lamplight, serene and unchanging. Around her feet, shadows dance like the remnants of dreams. The air cools as night settles in. Above, the first stars appear, scattered like grains of salt on dark velvet. You take a slow breath, filling your lungs with the scent of olive wood smoke and sea mist. The city hums softly in its sleep. Somewhere, the philosopher still speaks under the cypress tree. Somewhere, the potter's kiln still burns. Somewhere, the waves still touch the shore, whispering stories older than words. You realize that this world so distant in time is not lost at all. It lives in rhythm, in memory, in the heartbeat of calm that bridges centuries. You are part of it now, breathing the same air, walking the same stone paths, hearing the same sea. The night deepens. A lantern flickers beside the path, its light swaying gently in the wind. You follow it toward rest, the hum of Greece quieting into a lullaby that seems to murmur, "You are safe. You are home." The ancient world dreams with you. The first light of dawn stretches across the horizon, gentle and pale, touching the rooftops of ancient Athens with a quiet glow. The marble temples and homes, still cool from the night, catch the faint shimmer of gold as the sun rises slowly above the hills. You breathe in the soft air, tinged with the smell of olive trees, and feel the calm rhythm of a world waking more than 2,000 years ago. Nothing rushes here. Time drifts like the slow roll of a morning tide. From your window, you can hear the city stir the muted murmur of sandals against a stone, the bleating of goats, the clink of pottery being arranged by unseen hands. The Agora, Athens' open marketplace, lies just beyond the winding lanes. Stones have felt the steps of philosophers, traders, and children chasing one another under the watchful eyes of the gods. Today, it belongs to you. You step out into the light, your footsteps joining the quiet song of the city's awakening. The streets are narrow, lined with low white walls brushed with ivy. Everywhere, the scent of fresh bread, figs, and herbs mingles with the salty breath of the Aegean Sea. A potter arranges his vases along a wooden stand. Each is painted with delicate images: warriors sailing to Troy, dancers in swirling robes, heroes crowned by laurel. His hands move with practiced grace, the rhythm of generations before him. When you pause to watch, he smiles without speaking, and the only sound is the faint whisper of the brush against clay. This is no bustling city of noise and haste. It is a breathing landscape of calm, each sound softened by distance, every color mellowed by sun and dust. A group of women carry water from the public fountain, their chatter light and unhurried. Near them, a shepherd drives a small flock through the square, bells on their necks chiming in tender harmony. The melody seems to ripple through the air, lulling even the busiest trader into a moment of stillness. At the heart of the Agora stands a tall column draped with vines. Beneath it sits a scribe named Alaric, his fingers stained with ink, scrolls spread across the table before him. He writes slowly, the scratch of his stylus like the rhythm of gentle rain. When you greet him, he nods and gestures for you to sit. His voice is low and thoughtful, carrying the accent of the city scholars. Every word he says is a bridge between today and forever. He smiles faintly as he seals a scroll with wax. Around him, the air smells of olive oil, papyrus, and the faint smoke of torches burning from the night before. You watch him work, each motion deliberate, graceful, without urgency. In his presence, the act of writing feels almost sacred, quiet ritual of remembrance. You rise again and walk deeper into the square. A baker pulls warm loaves from a clay oven, their crust golden, steam curling lazily upward. The smell wraps around you, rich and comforting. Across from him, a musician tunes his lyre, the strings humming softly in the cool air. He begins to play a melody that seems to drift on the morning light itself, slow, patient, almost infinite. The notes weave through the chatter of the market like threads of silver, holding everything together in gentle harmony. You pause by a fountain where clear water flows from the mouth of a stone lion. The sound is soothing, steady, eternal. Children laugh nearby as they fill their clay cups. One boy offers you a smile before racing away, his laughter echoing off the marble columns. You sip the water. It is cool, sweet, candle-alive with the taste of the earth. As you move on, the city opens wider before you. Marble steps rise toward the Acropolis, and beyond that, the hills shimmer under the sun. The air carries the fragrance of thyme and cypress. In the distance, a teacher's voice floats from a shaded courtyard. He recites lines from Homer, saying, "Muse of the wrath of Achilles," his students repeating softly after him. Their words melt into the hum of bees among the flowers. Everywhere you look, life unfolds, not in haste, but in rhythm. Women spin wool beneath archways. Men gather to debate beside a carved statue of Athena. The air itself seems to breathe wisdom, as though even the stones remember the voices of those who came before. You realize how every part of this world, every gesture, every sound exists in quiet. Conversation with the divine. Do you stop at the edge of the Agora, where the ground slopes toward the sea? From here, you can see the faint sparkle of the harbor, the masts of ships rising like slender trees against the sky. A soft wind carries the scent of salt and the faraway call of gulls. It feels as though the world is inviting you onward, deeper into its story. Before you leave, you glance back at the market now, fully awake. It's still calm, its people moving with the same slow grace as the tide. Alaric, the scribe, catches your eye and raises a hand in farewell. The potter lifts another vase into the sunlight, its glaze shining like liquid fire. The musician plucks the final note of his song. All of it feels suspended, timeless, as if the moment itself wishes to linger. You turn toward the sea path, stones warm beneath your feet, and the sun climbing softly overhead. The city hums behind you, fading into the rhythm of waves and wind. Each step feels lighter, slower, as though ancient Greece is carrying you in its calm, embracing, unbroken dream of marble, sky, and memory. And as you breathe in the tranquil morning air, the question drifts through your mind like a whisper. The path slopes gently downward, carved by centuries of footsteps. Each stone feels cool beneath your sandals, warmed only where the sunlight has touched. Ahead, the murmur of voices blends with the rhythmic sigh of waves. The scent of salt and tar fills the air, mingled with the sweetness of figs drying in the sun. You have reached the harbor, the living heart of this ancient world. The sea glows with morning light, rippling in silver and soft blue. Wooden ships drift lazily in the shallows, their sails tied down. Their hulls painted with bright symbols, eyes to watch the waves, dolphins for protection, olive branches for fortune. You pause at the water's edge, where the tide curls gently around the rocks. The foam leaves delicate white trails that vanish almost instantly, as if the sea itself is whispering and withdrawing, speaking in a language older than memory. Fishermen move slowly along the docks, their gestures unhurried, their faces calm. They mend nets with quiet concentration, the cords twisting like strands of gold under the sun. A boy, barefoot and laughing softly, helps his father coil the ropes. Together, they lift baskets filled with glistening fish silver, blue, and pearland, carry them toward the market. You can hear their soft laughter, a harmony that drifts between the creak of wood and the cry of gulls. You follow the sound of hammering steady, patient. At the far end of the harbor, a shipwright works beside a half-finished vessel. He stands tall, his tunic streaked with sawdust, his eyes fixed on the curved spine of the ship. Each strike of his hammer seems to blend with the rhythm of the sea, as though the waves themselves keep time. When you greet him, he nods, smiling faintly. She will sail before the next full moon, he says. To Crete, perhaps soar farther still. His voice carries a quiet pride. For him, this work is not simply labor. It is communion with the elements: wood, wind, and water woven together into something that can cross the edge of the world. You watch him a while, the wood gleaming under his tools, the scent of pine and resin strong in the warm air. A group of merchants gather nearby, their robes bright with color. They speak softly in a dozen tongue straighters from distant islands, men who have followed stars across the open sea. They unload amphorae of olive oil and jars of honey, baskets of saffron and spices that release their fragrance into the breeze. You catch the smell of cinnamon, the faint sting of salt, and something sweet, almost floral perhaps, myrrh or lotus. The air feels heavy with stories. One merchant notices your curiosity and gestures to a small carved trinket on his table. It is a dolphin made of smooth bone, no larger than your thumb. For luck, he says, to keep the sea kind. His smile is kind, but his eyes are far away, as though they carried a reflection of many horizons. You take the charm in your hand. It is cool, delicate, shaped by care. You set it down gently, feeling a quiet connection to the countless travelers who have stood here before you, dreaming of new lands beyond the waves. As the morning deepens, sunlight spills brighter over the water, painting long golden paths that seem to stretch to infinity. The harbor shimmers, alive with soft movement sails fluttering, water lapping against wood, seagulls wheeling through the sky. Yet, even in this life, there is peace. No rush, no noise, no engines or machines, only rhythm. It's a deep pause in nature in harmony with human purpose. You walk along the dock, passing small altars tucked into the corners of the pier. Each one is marked by seashells, pebbles, or sprigs of olive leaves, offerings to Poseidon, Lord of the Sea. The scent of burnt oil drifts from one, its flame dancing lazily against the breeze. You bow your head for a moment, not in prayer, but in quiet gratitude for the stillness of this hour. Across the harbor, a low hill rises above the sea. Stone steps climb its side, leading to a watchtower crowned with a bronze bell. Curious, you begin the ascent. The climb is slow but easy, and each step opens a wider view of the world below. By the time you've reached the top, the entire coast stretches before you on endless sweep of blue, green, and gold. From here, you can see the winding roads that lead inland, threading through olive groves and wheat fields. The white roofs of the city glint in the distance, their edges softened by heat. Farther still, mountains rise tall, ancient, veiled in pale mist. The air up here feels thinner, cleaner, securing the faint echo of bells and laughter from below. You close your eyes for a moment and listen. The waves crash softly against the rocks. The gulls cry overhead. The wind hums through the stones like an old lullaby. It feels as if the whole world has fallen into the same rhythm, heart. Sea and sky moving together in one long breath. When you open your eyes, you notice a familiar figure walking along the harbor pathalic, the scribe you met earlier in the Agora. He carries a scroll under his arm, his steps unhurried. You watch him stop by the pier, dip his hand into the sea, and lift it again, light, letting droplets fall like pearls through the sunlight. He looks at the horizon for a long moment, then begins to write, as if the sea itself is dictating his words. The moon has climbed higher now, resting like a silver coin above the sleeping city. Its light drapes across the rooftops, turning clay and marble into shades of pearl. You walk along a narrow path bordered by tall cypress trees. The air hums softly with the sound of distant waves, and somewhere behind you, a night bird calls once before fading into silence. The city of Athens, or perhaps a smaller coastal town devoted to trade and philosophy, has settled into the rhythm of rest. Torches flicker at the gates, their glow trembling in the breeze, like guardians watching over the dreams of mortals. You move toward the upper terraces, where the noble families dwell. The stone beneath your feet feels cool now, worn smooth by countless years of passage. A faint fragrance of laurel and rose drifts on the wind, carried from the palace gardens ahead. The guards at the entrance bow their heads gently as you pass, their bronze helmets gleaming dully in the moonlight. No words are exchanged, only quiet acknowledgement. In this hour, all speech feels unnecessary, as if the night itself listens and understands. The palace of the city-state stands before a UA structure of harmony and grace. Tall Doric columns rise toward the sky, simple yet commanding, carved with patterns that tell stories of the gods. The marble glows faintly in the soft rustle of fabric, and the low crackle of torches echo through the courtyard. You pause for a moment at the entrance, taking in the balance of shadow and flame, the way the moonlight touches each stone like a blessing. Inside, the halls are vast and calm. Oil lamps hang from bronze hooks, their lights swaying gently. The air is cool and tinged with olive smoke and beeswax. Along the walls, frescoes depict scenes from myth, the birth of Athena, the travels of Heracles, the chariot of Apollo streaking across the dawn. The art feels alive, even in the quiet, each brushstroke carrying the devotion of the hands that made it centuries ago. Your footsteps echo lightly on the marble floor as you make your way deeper into the palace. In a distant chamber, soft music drifts through the air lyre, accompanied by a flute. The melody is slow, thoughtful, like a memory half remembered. You follow it to a colonnaded courtyard where a few figures linger under the stars. They sit in a loose circle, their togas draped in folds of white and soft blue, speaking in tones barely above whispers. One of them, a scholar with silver hair, gestures toward the night sky. Each star, he says, is a story written by time itself. Okay, the gods placed them there so mortals might never forget their beginnings. You lift your gaze with the others. Okay, above constellations, Shimmerian, the hunter, Cassiopeia, the queen, and the gentle curve of the Milky Way stretching like a path to eternity. For a moment, it feels as though the entire universe is breathing in sync with these steady, unhurried, eternal. Nearby, a servant carries a tray of figs, bread, and watered wine. He moves silently, his steps light on the mosaic floor, except a piece of fruit. Its sweetness lingers as the conversation drifts to philosophy of virtue, beauty, and the pursuit of harmony. Yet even as they speak of reason and wisdom, The mood remains dreamlike. Their words feel less like debate and more like poetry, carried on the hush of the evening air. As the gathering disperses, you wander further, drawn by curiosity, down a quiet hall lined with amphorae and woven tapestries. You'll find an open door leading to the royal sleeping quarters. The queen's chamber lies beyond a space fragrant with lavender and olive oil, the air thick with tranquility. Its gold-threaded curtains ripple softly by the open window, letting in the cool night breeze. The bed, carved from cedar, is layered with fine linen. On a small table beside it rests a clay lamp, its flame dim and steady. The queen herself lies already asleep. Her face is peaceful, her expression serene. You notice the faint glint of a necklace at her throat, a charm bearing the owl of Athena, symbol of wisdom and foresight. For a moment, the image of power and vulnerability intertwines, the ruler of many souls, now resting as gently as a child. You linger quietly, then step back into the hall, letting the door close behind you without a sound. Outside, the moon has shifted westward. The palace terrace overlooks the entire valley, and beyond it, the dark ribbon of the sea glimmers faintly. You lean against a marble balustrade, feeling the night air brush your skin. The crickets sing softly in the gardens below, and the faint aroma of thyme and mint fills your senses. It feels as though the world itself exhales. A thought surfaces gently, like a ripple across still water. How fleeting all empires are, how every marble wall will one day fall to dust, and yet beauty remains. The songs, the stars, the whispers of those who once lived here, they linger in the air like perfume, eternal and undisturbed. As you stand there, the sound of the sea grows clearer. It rises and falls like a heartbeat, timeless and calm. The palace, the city, the world itself seem to drift further away, until you are left only with the rhythm of the waves and the steady hum of the universe. You close your eyes, breathing slowly. The cool night wraps around you, cradling you in stillness. The world of ancient Greece hums softly beneath the surface of sleep, alive, eternal, endlessly peaceful. The palace slowly fades behind you as you descend a winding path toward the riverbank. The world is hushed, the only sound the distant whisper of water flowing through reeds. The air cools with every step, carrying the faint scent of myrtle and cypress. Overhead, the moon hovers low, large and luminous, painting the landscape in silver light. Each pebble on the ground seems to glimmer faintly, as though the earth itself remembers the touch of gods and heroes. The path leads you past sleeping olive groves. Their twisted trunks cast long shadows that stretch and weave together like ancient script across the soil. From somewhere beyond the trees, you hear the muted hum of a lyre, perhaps, a poet lingering near the river, composing verses to honor the dawn. The sound is delicate, carried by the breeze, and it feels less like music and more like a dream half remembered. You soon arrive at the river's edge, where the moonlight dances across the slow-moving current. The surface glows like polished glass, reflecting the stars so perfectly that it's hard to tell where the heavens end and the water begins. You kneel to touch it. It's cool, refreshing, alive. Ripples spread outward from your fingers, distorting the stars into shimmering trails. The river, like time itself, flows endlessly, carrying stories, hopes, and forgotten names toward the sea. A small wooden boat rests nearby, tied loosely to a post. Its oars are laid carefully inside, and the scent of cedar rises faintly from its frame. You untie the rope and step aboard, the wood creaking softly under your weight. As you push away from the shore, the boat drifts into the current, guided by invisible hands. You settle into the rhythm of the water, each movement gentle, like a lullaby. The city fades behind you, replaced by the quiet expanse of the countryside. The silhouettes of low hills roll across the horizon, and the occasional glow of a farmhouse flickers like a distant star. Along the banks, willows bend low, their branches trailing through the surface of the water as though brushing away the memories of the day. A heron leaps gracefully from the shallows, its wings catching the moonlight before disappearing into the night as the boat glides onward. You notice statues standing half hidden among the reed stone figures, worn smooth by time. They depict nymphs, river gods, and guardians of the water, their faces serene and timeless. Each one watches silently as you pass, their expressions soft yet knowing, as if aware that you have entered the space between waking and dream. In the distance, you hear the faint ring of bells from a temple on a nearby hill. The sound drifts across the valley, echoing gently over the water. You imagine priests in white robes lighting oil lamps within the temple walls, their prayers rising like smoke toward the stars. The flicker of those distant flames seems to align with the rhythm of your breath, slow, calm, eternal. You lean back in the boat, gazing up at the night sky. The constellations shimmer above you, ancient symbols that have guided sailors and storytellers for thousands of years. You trace them silently, the archer, the twins, the great sea creature. Somewhere in that vastness, you imagine the gods still watching, curious and kind. Perhaps they smile upon this quiet journey, content to see a mortal at peace beneath their eternal realm. The river narrows now, its current guiding you beneath a canopy of trees. Fireflies drift lazily above the water, their light pulsing in slow, gentle rhythms. The world feels wrapped in stillness, as though every sound has been softened to a whisper. You can almost hear your own heartbeat mingling with the pulse of the river's steady, soothing cadence that draws you deeper into calm. You close your eyes for a moment, and the rocking of the boat becomes a cradle. Time loosens its hold. The scent of earth, water, and cedar lulls your senses. You imagine that perhaps this same river once carried offerings to the gods, ceramic bowls filled with oil, flowers woven into garlands, prayers whispered into the night. And now, centuries later, it carries only peace. When you open your eyes again, the boat has slowed, drifting toward a bend where the current gentles into near stillness. The moon's reflection lies unbroken across the water, a perfect mirror of light. You reach out once more, and your fingertips graze the surface, disturbing the image for just a moment before it reforms, calm as ever. The gesture feels symbolic somehow, as if to remind you that peace is not the absence of movement, but the grace within it. On the far shore, a grove of tall poplars stands motionless. Between them, a faint path leads toward an open field bathed in pale light. You sense that your journey will continue there, but for now, the moment holds you in its quiet embrace. You listen to the water, to the night, to the soft breath of the wind among the trees. Everything slows: the river, the air, even your thoughts. The past and present blend, and the world becomes a dream woven from light and shadow. Ancient Greece, in this moment, is not a memory, but a living peace, one that invites you to rest, to breathe, to simply be. The river bends softly toward a narrow landing of worn stone steps, their edges smoothed by centuries of pilgrims who once came here to pray. You guide the small wooden boat to rest beside them, feeling it rock faintly against the shore. The air is still. Even the breeze seems to pause, as though aware of the sacredness of this place. Overhead, the stars shimmer brighter, their light gathering in the ripples of the water, as if leading you onward. You step carefully onto the riverbank. The path ahead glows faintly, dusted with pale sand that catches the moonlight like powdered silver. On either side, tall cypress trees stand in silent formation, their dark shapes reaching toward the heavens. The scent of their resin mixes with the cool night air, earthy, clean, and grounding. The faint chirp of crickets rises and falls, a natural rhythm to accompany your slow steps at the crest of a hill. The temple awaits, a quiet silhouette against the horizon. Its marble columns shimmer in the moonlight, each carved with delicate spirals and inscriptions that time has softened but not erased. Between the columns, you glimpse the flicker of a single flame. It glows steadily, its light golden and calm, untouched by wind or time. As you approach, the air shifts subtly. The faint aroma of olive oil and smoke drifts outward, a scent both ancient and comforting. You step into the temple courtyard, where stone lions guard the entrance. Their eyes, though carved in silence, seem alive in the glow of the flame. Protectors of peace rather than warriors of fear. The great bronze doors stand open. You cross the threshold quietly, each footstep echoing softly across the polished marble floor. The hall is vast yet intimate, a place where time slows to a near halt. Flickering torches line the walls, their flames reflected in panels of beaten bronze. At the center, the eternal flame burns within a shallow basin of stone, surrounded by an intricate mosaic depicting the god's creation of light. You approach it slowly, your shadow joining the dance of the flame. The air feels warmer here, filled with a faint hum of energy, though no sound breaks the silence. The light paints the walls in soft waves of gold, breathing life into the carved scenes that surround the chamber. Warriors offering thanks, farmers presenting grain, children releasing doves into the sky. An old priestess kneels near the fire, her robes the color of ash and dawn. Her face is lined with peace, her eyes half closed in meditation. She does not speak, yet you sense that she acknowledges your presence, not as an intruder, but as a traveler on the same quiet path. She lifts a small amphora, pouring a stream of fragrant oil into the basin. The flame brightens for a moment, then steadies, serene as before. You bow your head slightly, not in worship, but in quiet respect. This fire has burned for generations, tended through wars, droughts, and endless nights. Its light once guided sailors back to port, marked festivals of rebirth, and signaled the unity of city and soul. Now, it flickers only for the few who still seek its calm, those who understand that endurance itself is sacred. You take a seat on one of the smooth stone benches near the wall. The cool surface meets your palms, grounding you as you gaze at the flame. For a moment, you lose yourself in its slow movement, the way it bends and sways without ever breaking. The soft, golden heart pulsing steadily like breath. It feels as if the flame is alive, a mirror of your own quiet heartbeat. Your mind drifts as you watch it. You imagine the temple long ago, filled with voices, chants, and offerings. You picture young acolytes carrying water from the river, polishing the floor until it gleamed like sunlight. You see families entering at dawn, bringing baskets of figs and honey, whispering their hopes for good harvests and safe journeys. All of it has faded now, but the warmth remains, not in the walls or the fire, but in the echo of care left behind. The priestess opens her eyes. For a brief moment, they meet yours, calm, gentle, eternal. She speaks softly, her voice low and melodic, like the murmur of the river outside. Light endures because hearts remember. You nod, though you say nothing. The words seem to ripple through the hall, filling the air like incense. She smiles faintly, then turns her gaze back to the flame. You take that as your cue to rest. You lie down on the bench, your body curling comfortably against the cool marble. The warmth of the fire reaches you from across the room, steady, rhythmic, tender. Your eyelids grow heavy, and your breathing slows to match the flicker of the light. The world narrows too small. Sensations, the faint crackle of the flame, the distant whisper of wind beyond the pillars, the soft rhythm of your own heartbeat. You feel your thoughts dissolve, your body weightless. It's as though you are drifting again, this time not through water, but through light floating in the quiet, endless glow of history itself. Somewhere deep within that stillness, you hear a faint hum, maybe the memory of the priestess's voice, maybe the ancient song of the earth itself. Either way, it is soft, continuous, and comforting. You let it carry you deeper and deeper into peace. The flame burns on, unwavering, it's infinite, and you realize that perhaps This is what survival meant in the ancient world. Not strength, not conquest, but quiet persistence. A steady fire in the heart that refuses to go out. Outside. The moon begins to sink lower, and dawn lingers just beyond the hills. The temple remains silent, its single light, a gentle heartbeat in the darkness, eternal, patient, serene. The temple's flame fades slowly behind you as you descend the hill. Its golden light flickers between the cypress trunks until it becomes just a memory, a distant heartbeat in the dark. The air outside feels cool and open, touched by the scent of wild thyme and the soft hum of crickets. Each breath feels lighter now, as though the night itself is breathing with you. The path widens into a quiet plain that stretches toward the horizon. You walk slowly, the ground beneath your sandals warm from the day's sun. Pebbles gleam faintly like tiny stars fallen from the sky. The world feels unbound, no walls, no voices. Only the slow turning of the earth beneath the constellations above. You find a patch of grass near a small rise, where the land dips gently toward the river. The sound of water drifts through the still air, steady and soft, a lullaby of the ancient world. You sit, then lie back, feeling the earth cradle you in its timeless calm. The stars above shimmer like scattered silver, each one alive with stories whispered across generations. Somewhere an owl calls. Its voice is low, patient, wise, the kind of sound that feels less like a cry and more like a reminder that night belongs not to silence, but to reflection. You look up, tracing the familiar shapes above you. The hunter, the swan, the lion, the goddess. Their stories drift through your mind, woven together like threads of golden light. Once, people believed these constellations were the spirits of heroes, lifted into the heavens by the gods. Each point of light was a soul, eternal and pure, watching over the living below. You imagine those ancient storytellers sitting by the same rivers, gazing at the same sky, their fires flickering as they passed tales from voice to voice. The sky was their scroll, their memory, stream. A faint breeze moves through the grass, carrying the scent of olive trees and distant sea salt. You close your eyes, and the line between earth and sky begins to blur. It feels as if you are floating among the constellations themselves, each star glowing softly around you. You can almost hear them, faint whispers, calm and ancient, speaking in a language made of rhythm and breath. Above, the Milky Way stretches like a pale river of light, the same river that, long ago, poets believed was milk spilled from the breast of a goddess, nourishing the sky with dreams. You smile faintly at the thought, the image both gentle and eternal. Even myths, it seems, were born from love and wonder. Time drifts. The constellations shift slightly, as though the sky itself is turning toward sleep. You imagine the people of ancient Greece resting beneath this same firmament, shepherds on the hills, sailors aboard their quiet ships, philosophers lying awake with questions about the stars. All of them, like you, caught between history and dream, between the world that is and the world imagined. A faint glow begins to rise at the edge of the horizon, not yet dawn, but the softest promise of it. The stars seem to respond, dimming gently as the first hint of morning gathers. The air cools further, and dew begins to form on the grass, tiny jewels catching the last of the starlight. You breathe deeply, and the scent of the earth feels grounding, real, eternal. You think of all the lives that came before, the voices that filled the Agora, the footsteps that crossed marble floors, the laughter that once echoed in courtyards now silent. Each story, each life, a flicker in time, brief, beautiful, and enduring in memory. And somehow, you realize they all remain here. Not gone, not forgotten. Just quiet, your mind begins to soften, thoughts loosening like petals in a breeze. The stars blur slightly as your eyelids grow heavy. You feel your heart beat slow, matching the steady rhythm of the distant river. Everything around you, the sky, the earth, the air, becomes one continuous hum of peace. You drift further, deeper. The constellations seem to lower, their light wrapping around you like a gentle veil. The myths fade into soft impressions, a winged horse galloping through mist, a goddess pouring light into the sea, a ship sailing forever across a silver horizon. They are not stories now, but sensations, fluid, endless, serene. A voice seems to echo faintly in your mind, not from the temple, not from the past, but from the quiet itself. Rest now, traveler. The world remembers you. The wind sighs once more, and the stars shimmer like eyes closing slowly. You let go completely of movement, of thought, of time. In the stillness, ancient Greece dissolves into dream. The marble, the rivers, the distant chants all become soft echoes in the night, carried by the rhythm of your breath. You are no longer in the story. You are the story, a small, peaceful thread in the vast fabric of eternity. The sky holds you gently, and the myths whisper their final lullaby. And beneath that infinite dome of stars, you fall quietly, completely, into sleep. The temple's flame fades slowly behind you as you descend the hill. Its golden light flickers between the cypress trunks until it becomes just a memory, a distant heartbeat in the dark. The air outside feels cool and open, touched by the scent of wild thyme and the soft hum of crickets. Each breath feels lighter now, as though the night itself is breathing with you. The path widens into a quiet plain that stretches toward the horizon. You walk slowly, the ground beneath your sandals warm from the day's sun. Pebbles gleam faintly like tiny stars fallen from the sky. The world feels unbound, no walls, no voices. Only the slow turning of the earth beneath the constellations above. You find a patch of grass near a small rise, where the land dips gently toward the river. The sound of water drifts through the still air, steady and soft, a lullaby of the ancient world. You sit, then lie back, feeling the earth cradle you in its timeless calm. The stars above shimmer like scattered silver, each one alive with stories whispered across generations. Somewhere an owl calls. Its voice is low, patient, wise, the kind of sound that feels less like a cry and more like a reminder that night belongs not to silence, but to reflection. You look up, tracing the familiar shapes above you. The hunter, the swan, the lion, the goddess. Their stories drift through your mind, woven together like threads of golden light. Once, people believed these constellations were the spirits of heroes, lifted into the heavens by the gods. Each point of light was a soul, eternal and pure, watching over the living below. You imagined those ancient storytellers sitting by the same rivers, gazing at the same sky, their fires flickering as they passed tales from voice to voice. The sky was their scroll, their memory, stream. A faint breeze moves through the grass, carrying the scent of olive trees and distant sea salt. You close your eyes, and the line between earth and sky begins to blur. It feels as if you are floating among the constellations themselves, each star glowing softly around you. You can almost hear them, faint whispers, calm and ancient, speaking in a language made of rhythm and breath. Above, the Milky Way stretches like a pale river of light, the same river that, long ago, poets believed was milk spilled from the breast of a goddess, nourishing the sky with dreams. You smile faintly at the thought, the image both gentle and eternal. Even myths, it seems, were born from love and wonder. Time drifts. The constellations shift slightly, as though the sky itself is turning toward sleep. You imagine the people of ancient Greece resting beneath this same firmament, shepherds on the hills, sailors aboard their quiet ships, philosophers lying awake with questions about the stars. All of them, like you, caught between history and dream, between the world that is and the world imagined. A faint glow begins to rise at the edge of the horizon, not yet dawn, but the softest promise of it. The stars seem to respond, dimming gently as the first hint of morning gathers. The air cools further, and dew begins to form on the grass, tiny jewels catching the last of the starlight. You breathe deeply, and the scent of the earth feels grounding, real, eternal. You think of all the lives that came before, the voices that filled the agora, the footsteps that crossed marble floors, the laughter that once echoed in courtyards now silent. Each story, each life, a flicker in time, brief, beautiful, and enduring in memory. And somehow, you realize they all remain here. Not gone, not forgotten. Just quiet, your mind begins to soften, thoughts loosening like petals in a breeze. The stars blur slightly as your eyelids grow heavy. You feel your heart beat slow, matching the steady rhythm of the distant river. Everything around you, the sky, the earth, the air, becomes one continuous hum of peace. You drift further, deeper. The constellations seem to lower, their light wrapping around you like a gentle veil. The myths fade into soft impressions, a winged horse galloping through mist, a goddess pouring light into the sea, a ship sailing forever across a silver horizon. They are not stories now, but sensations, fluid, endless, serene. A voice seems to echo faintly in your mind, not from the temple, not from the past, but from the quiet itself. Rest now, traveler. The world remembers you. The wind sighs once more, and the stars shimmer like eyes closing slowly. You let go completely of movement, of thought, of time. In the stillness, ancient Greece dissolves into dream. The marble, the rivers, the distant chants all become soft echoes in the night, carried by the rhythm of your breath. You are no longer in the story. You are the story, a small, peaceful thread in the vast fabric of eternity. The sky holds you gently, and the myths whisper their final lullaby. And beneath that infinite dome of stars, you fall quietly, completely, into sleep. The night deepens once more, and the stars begin to settle into their quiet rhythm. The last echoes of the temple's chants have faded into memory. Only the soft hush of the wind remains, a breeze that moves through the olive groves, across the empty courtyards, and down the silent streets of the city that once never slept. You walk slowly now, though your steps make no sound. The marble beneath your feet feels cool and smooth, washed in moonlight. The great columns of the agora rise around you, pale and endless, their shadows stretching like the ribs of forgotten giants. Where once merchants called out and philosophers argued beneath the open sky, now there is only stillness. The city sleeps, and you move through its streams. You pass a fountain, space and cracked, its water stilled to a thin mirror. Once it shimmered with coins, tossed by hands long gone. Wishes whispered in hope, a safe voyage, a child's laughter, a prayer for love. Now, the water holds only the reflection of the moon, yet even that feels like a memory of light. Somewhere in the distance, a faint sound, the clink of a chain, perhaps, or the flutter of a dove taking flight. You pause, listening, and realize it is only the night breathing. The whole world feels alive, but asleep, resting, remembering, holding its stories within its quiet bones. You look up at the Acropolis, its shape etched in silver against the sky. It stands like a ghost of power, serene and timeless. Once, torches burned along its walls. Priests in white robes carried offerings up the marble steps. Songs rose into the air like incense, hymns of gratitude, fear, and awe. Those voices are gone now, but their resonance lingers, faint, like the trace of perfume after the wearer has vanished. You can almost see them still. The crowds gathered in the glow of torches, their faces upturned, their hearts lifted by faith and wonder. Each life so small, so fleeting, yet part of something vast, something that never truly ends. History, you realize, is not a chain of years. It is a pulse, slow, constant, echoing through all who walk beneath the same sky. You place your hand against a marble column. The stone is cool, ancient, unyielding. It has seen centuries pass, empires rise, fall, and fade like waves upon the shore. Yet it remains, a silent witness to all who dared to dream, to build, to live. The air grows softer, the world quieter still. The stars above seem lower now, almost within reach. Time feels suspended, as if the night itself is holding its breath. You can sense the weight of memory, not heavy, but gentle, like a shawl placed around your shoulders. And in this stillness, something within you begins to understand. The past is never gone. It sleeps within the stones, within the wind, within every quiet heartbeat that listens long enough to hear. You close your eyes for a moment, letting the silence fill you completely. You can feel the faint warmth of the world beneath you, the earth breathing, the marble dreaming, the stars whispering, and you, small beneath the vast dome of time, feel perfectly at peace. The marble fades behind you as you drift farther into the sleeping city. The streets narrow, the air thick with the faint scent of time and cooling bread. You are walking through a neighborhood once alive with laughter. The sound of pottery clinking, the murmur of families gathering for their evening meal. Now, all that remains is a hush, but even in that hush, you can feel them. A mother once stood at that doorway, her hands dusted with flour as she called her children inside. A scholar once leaned against that wall, reading by the dim light of an oil lamp. A young soldier might have passed this way, his sandals tapping softly against the stones, his thoughts torn between duty and home. They are gone now, and yet they are not. The air seems to shimmer with their memory. You can almost hear the echo of their lives, a quiet song woven through time. It is not loud nor sorrowful. It is tender, patient, content. These were the people who carried the heartbeat of Greece, the ones who built, who loved, who dreamed. Without knowing their names would fade, but their presence would never truly disappear. You pause beside a clay amphora, resting near a step. Its rim is chipped, its surface worn smooth by the years. Once it held wine or olive oil, simple gifts of life. You run your fingers over it gently. The texture feels both ancient and familiar, as if it remembers every hand that touched it, every feast it nourished, every celebration under the open sky. Far off, an owl calls, a single, soft note that drifts through the air and fades into silence. The sound seems to bridge the centuries. Perhaps an owl once called in this same place thousands of years ago, when someone else stood where you now stand, pausing to listen, lost in thought. You realize then that history is not only about kings or philosophers or warriors. It is also about these quiet, unseen moments, the rhythm of footsteps, the laughter that once filled an alley, the scent of crushed herbs on a warm evening. These are the true threads of time, delicate but unbroken. The wind rises just slightly, stirring your hair, carrying the faintest trace of salt from the sea. The stars above remain steady, watching as they have for millennia. Their light touches the walls, the rooftops, the curve of a forgotten well. Every surface seems to glow softly, as though remembering the touch of sunlight and the hum of daily life. You take a slow, steady breath. The night air feels cool as it fills your lungs. You can almost taste the faint sweetness of the past, the honey, the figs, the bread baked in stone ovens. And with every breath, you feel more connected, more at ease, more certain that these lives still whisper through the world in small, beautiful ways. You begin to move again, slow and calm, your steps gliding like ripples across still water. Each turn reveals another silent home, another fragment of memory. The city is no longer a place of ruins, but a living tapestry, one you can walk through, touch, and listen to. And as you do, you understand something deeper. We never truly leave history behind. We walk within it. We breathe it in. We carry it forward in every quiet act of kindness, every dream, every heartbeat that listens to the soft hum of time. The night feels warmer now. You close your eyes for a moment, letting that truth settle in your chest like a lullaby. Around you, the city exhales. The stars shimmer gently, and all at once, the world feels timeless, soft, forgiving, endlessly alive. You continue along the quiet stone path, and ahead, a soft, golden glow appears, the faint memory of a torch still flickering in the distance. It is not real flame, but something older, gentler, the kind of light born from memory itself. You follow it, unhurried, and as you do, the stillness deepens around you. The night feels vast, filled with the echoes of minds that once pondered the mysteries of existence. Somewhere in this ancient place, a philosopher once sat beneath a fig tree, his words flowing like calm rivers of thought. What is virtue? He may have asked, or what makes a life truly good? His voice no longer lingers, but his questions do. They float softly in the air, timeless, patient, waiting for any who wish to listen. You imagine him sitting there, robes gently stirring in the breeze, eyes half closed as he considers the stars. Around him, the hum of cicadas, the murmur of the sea, the quiet breathing of a world still young. It was in such moments that wisdom took root, not in grand speeches or battles, but in stillness, reflection, and the courage to wonder. The Greeks believed that every soul carried a spark, a light of divine reason, logos, guiding it through the world. As you walk, you begin to feel that spark within yourself, subtle, warm, steady. It glows with curiosity and calm, illuminating the soft corners of your mind. You realize that even now, thousands of years later, that same spark has never gone out. Perhaps that is the true gift of their legacy, not the temples or statues or texts, but the quiet endurance of thought, the gentle reminder that peace can be found in understanding, that beauty lies in simplicity, that the act of wondering itself is sacred. The path opens to a courtyard bathed in moonlight. Broken columns rise like silent sentinels, their surfaces silvered by time. You move among them slowly, each step soft and measured. The marble feels cool beneath your fingertips. You can almost hear the faint resonance of voices long gone students debating under the stars. Laughter echoing softly between the pillars. A teacher's calm words carried on the wind. You pause to gaze upward. The stars above seem impossibly bright. For a moment, you feel as though they are leaning closer, whispering the same truths that once filled the minds of the ancients. That life is fleeting, but meaning lingers. That love, courage, and thought endure far beyond any empire. You inhale deeply. The air tastes of night and olive wood. The world feels suspended, poised between the weight of time and the softness of dream. And in that stillness, you begin to sense how the wisdom of ages past can settle like a soft blanket over the present. You think of how those who came before also sought peace, not just victory or knowledge, but quiet understanding. They too must have looked to the same stars, asking silently for guidance, for rest, for belonging. You smile softly, realizing that across the centuries, humanity has always been reaching for the same kind of calm. The torchlight flickers one last time and fades into the night. In its place, only the moon remains, serene and eternal. You stand quietly beneath it, your thoughts drifting like waves. The world feels whole, balanced, a gentle harmony between what was, what is, and what will be. You exhale slowly. The sound mingles with the distant whisper of wind through cypress trees. Everything feels lighter now, the air, the ground, even your heart. And as the stars shimmer above, you understand that the light of Greece was never meant to fade. It lives on in curiosity, in compassion, and in the quiet strength of those who still seek to see the world clearly, kindly, and with wonder. The night has deepened now. The soft hues of dusk have long faded, leaving behind a world washed in silver and blue. You walk slowly toward the edge of the ancient Acropolis, where marble steps descend like ripples frozen in time. The stones beneath your feet are smooth, worn by centuries of pilgrims, philosophers, and dreamers who once climbed here to watch the city glow in the embrace of twilight. The air is cooler at this height, touched by the faint salt of the Aegean Sea. From afar, you can hear the gentle hum of waves, steady and slow, as though the sea itself has been breathing for millennia, keeping rhythm with the pulse of the earth. The breeze weaves through your hair, carrying with it the faint scent of olive trees and the distant flicker of burning lamps. Below, Athens lies quiet. Its streets, once crowded with merchants, poets, and children, now rest in peaceful slumber. The flickering lanterns in doorways resemble tiny constellations scattered across the ground, each light a story, a home, a life folded neatly into the night. You stand still, letting your gaze travel over the rooftops, the market square, and the winding paths that lead into the hills. Everything feels still, serene, as though time itself has chosen to sleep. Above you, the Parthenon stands like a dream remembered. Its columns gleam under the moonlight, whispering softly of the gods once honored here. Athena, goddess of wisdom and calm strength. You imagine her presence lingering, patient, and eternal, her gaze turned toward the city she loved. Perhaps she watches still, not with judgment, but with quiet pride, a guardian of all that endures when the noise of the world fades away. You step closer, placing a hand against the cool marble of the ancient temple. It hums faintly beneath your fingers, not sound, but memory. It's as if the stones themselves remember every offering, every whispered prayer, every moment of wonder that once filled these sacred halls. You can almost hear it now, the soft rustle of robes, the flicker of torchlight, the low chant of voices rising into the night air. And yet, even that fades, blending into the calm symphony of the present. You close your eyes, and for a moment, you are no longer a visitor, but a part of the world that was. You feel the rhythm of the city's heart beating beneath your feet, slow and steady. The wind caresses your face like a blessing. The stars above seem close enough to touch. It is a stillness so deep that even your breath feels like part of something ancient and eternal. The people of this age, the craftsmen, the mothers, the scholars, the sailors, all have vanished into time's gentle sea, but their spirit remains, echoing through every stone, every word written, every dream that survived. You realize that life itself is a kind of offering, each generation shaping the world, leaving traces of thought and tenderness for those who come next. You breathe deeply again, and the night air feels soft, almost tangible. The moon hangs low above the temple, bathing the marble in silver light. It feels as though the world has been polished smooth, every sound hushed, every shadow kind. This is not the silence of emptiness, but of peace, the deep, eternal quiet that follows understanding. You take one last look at the Acropolis, timeless, serene, and bathed in moonlight. It feels like the world itself is exhaling, a final sigh of ancient beauty before sleep. You whisper a quiet thank you to this place, to its history, its lessons, its endless calm. And as you turn away, you carry that stillness with you, a gift from the past, a promise of rest. The steps below lead you gently downward, back through the sleeping city. The torches flicker faintly, then fade one by one, like dreams folding into the dark. Each step takes you deeper into quiet, deeper into night, deeper into peace. The path narrows now, and your steps grow slower, softer, until they are little more than whispers upon the earth. The marble and stone give way to packed soil and scattered grass. Behind you, the Acropolis glows faintly in the distance, a crown of light upon the darkened city. Ahead, the horizon melts into shadow. The night has deepened, vast and still, and the world seems to hold its breath. You pause beneath an olive tree, its silver leaves trembling faintly in the breeze. The trunk is old, older than memory itself. You imagine the countless eyes that have once gazed upon it, shepherds resting in the heat of the day, scholars speaking softly beneath its branches, lovers meeting in secret twilight. Every leaf, every breath of wind feels filled with something sacred, a quiet wisdom carried through the centuries. The city behind you fades. Its murmurs are gone, replaced by the rhythm of your own breathing. You can almost hear your heartbeat echoing in the distance, slow, steady, peaceful. The stars above shimmer like drops of ancient gold scattered upon black silk. Their light travels across eternity, crossing the same sky that once watched over every soul of Athens. Time feels weightless here, the past and present folding together like pages of the same story. As you gaze upward, you can almost see them, faint shapes of the ancients carved in starlight. The philosopher, seated in thought beside a small flame. The sculptor, chiseling beauty from stone. The mother, singing her child to sleep by the glow of a single lamp. All of them drift through your mind like fragments of a dream, gentle, eternal. There's a comfort in knowing that life continues, even when the voices fade. That laughter, work, and love have always found their way through the centuries. The people of this land lived as you lived. They breathed, hoped, and wondered at the same stars. And though their names may be forgotten, the essence of their being remains. It lingers in the still air, in the worn stones, in the soft hum of memory that fills the night. You begin to walk again, following the faint trail that winds through the hills. Each step feels lighter than the last, as though gravity itself has softened. The night cradles you gently. The earth feels alive beneath your feet, not merely ground, but a living memory. Even the air seems to move slower, drawing you deeper into the rhythm of rest. At the crest of the hill, you stop once more. Below lies the world, silent, endless, at peace. The sea glimmers faintly beyond the dark horizon, and the wind moves across it like a sigh. You close your eyes and listen. In the distance, a faint hum, the sound of waves meeting shore, or the sound of time itself, continuing its quiet work. You think of how much has changed since the age of Tyre, philosophers, and temples. The world has turned countless times, civilizations rising and falling like tides. Yet, in moments like this, when the night is deep and the heart is still, it feels as though nothing has truly vanished. Everything endures, reshaped, reimagined, remembered. The moon climbs higher, tracing silver along the hills. Its glow brushes your skin, cool and soft. You feel lighter now, as though your thoughts have thinned into mist. The past, the present, even the sound of your breath, all blending into a single, endless calm. You are not a visitor anymore. You are part of the story, woven into its quiet heartbeat, eternal as the stars above. And as you stand there, the last light of history fades into the hush of eternity. The Acropolis dims, the torches below go out, and the air grows still. All that remains is peace, deep, unbroken, infinite. You take one final breath of ancient air, and with it, carry the stillness of the ages within you. The wind moves softly through the olive branches, like a lullaby sung across time. The stars seem to draw closer now, whispering the last words of the night. You are safe. You are calm. You are part of something timeless. Let go of the world of stone and memory. Let go of the hum of thought. Let go and drift into the quiet where even history sleeps. The story begins to fade, like the final echo of a distant song. The marble steps, the markets, the laughter of the ancients all drift softly into silence. The air grows still. Time itself feels slower, thicker, like warm honey spilling through the dark. Now you find yourself far away from the world of Greece, in another age, another night. A soft, golden glow flickers against the deep blue hush of a Victorian bedroom. A single candle burns upon a small bedside table, its flame bending and straightening with every tender sigh of the room. The scent of beeswax lingers in the air, mingling with the faint perfume of old paper and lavender. The lace curtains sway gently in the night breeze. Beyond them, a faint glimmer of starlight touches the glass. Pale, serene, timeless. The world outside is quiet. A cobblestone street washed in silver moonlight. A carriage has long since passed. Now only the sound of the wind remains, moving between the chimneys and over the roofs like a lullaby of the night. The candle burns steadily. Shadows dance across the walls, slow and graceful, like figures from another dream. You watch them move, tall shapes that stretch and fade, twining around the room like drifting smoke. The flame itself seems alive, breathing softly, pulling the air into rhythm with your heart. Somewhere nearby, the faint ticking of a clock, steady, gentle. Its rhythm merges with your breathing in and out, slow and calm. The warmth of the candle's glow touches your skin. You feel its comfort radiate outward, spreading through your body, easing the tension from your shoulders, your arms, your hands. The bed beside the candle is simple white sheets, a quilt woven in soft earth tones, pillows faintly scented with rosewater. You can almost hear the faint rustle of fabric as someone settles beneath the blanket. The sound is soothing, delicate, like pages turning in a book long forgotten. On the desk beside the candle rests a closed diary, its leather cover worn smooth by years of quiet hands. A ribbon bookmark slips out slightly, as if marking a final thought left unfinished. The pen beside it gleams faintly in the dim light, the ink bottle catching one last glint before sinking into shadow. The candle flickers again. The flame leans low, then straightens, as though reluctant to leave the world it has illuminated. Outside, the breeze quiets. The lace curtains come to rest. The entire room feels suspended, a breath held between wakefulness and sleep. You close your eyes, imagining the candle's glow behind your lids, soft and golden, flickering gently in rhythm with your heartbeat. You picture its warmth spreading through you, through your chest, down your arms, along your spine, into your legs and feet. The warmth deepens into calm, the calm into peace. With each breath, the flame grows smaller, dimmer, softer. Shadows gather around it, not in darkness, but in quiet. The diary's leather glows faintly. The ink bottle loses its gleam, and the edges of the room begin to blur, not disappearing, but melting into dream. The ticking of the clock slows, becoming a whisper. The air hums faintly, like the last note of a lullaby. Lace curtains shimmer in the candlelight, their pattern glowing for a brief, beautiful moment before sinking into the dusk. You imagine the writer of the diary, perhaps a traveler or a scholar or a dreamer who once wrote by this same candlelight. Their hand would have moved slowly across the page, the ink gliding like thoughts turned into whispers. Maybe they too wrote about history, about memory, about the passing of time, the same way you have now drifted through the past tonight. The candle trembles once more. Its light softens into amber. The shadows deepen, and the flame grows thin. You can feel it now, that exquisite moment between presence and absence, when light gives itself back to the dark, and everything becomes one. Your breathing slows, your mind quiets. The world folds in on itself like a closing book. The diary rests, the ink dries, the wind stills, the candle flickers once, twice, and then peace. The room remains, glowing faintly, a dream suspended in stillness. Outside, the stars shimmer in the endless sky, silent witnesses to another night gently fading into rest. You are warm. You are calm. You are home within the quiet, and the candle, now only a memory, becomes the bridge between waking and sleep. The candle's glow has vanished now, leaving only a faint halo in memory, a circle of warmth still shimmering behind your closed eyes. You drift from the room and step quietly into the cool air outside. A Victorian street stretches before you, narrow cobblestones glistening beneath a canopy of stars. Gas lamps line the path, their soft orange light blending with the silvery moon, painting the stones in hues of amber and pearl. The night smells of rain that fell hours ago, of lilacs leaning from iron fences, of distant smoke curling from the last fires of the city. Every step you take is slow, unhurried, weightless. The world seems to breathe with you in and out. The rhythm is steady, gentle, eternal. To your left, an old shop window displays faded books and brass instruments. A violin rests against velvet cloth, and you imagine someone long ago is playing a quiet melody here beneath the same stars. Across the street, a carriage lamp flickers once, then goes dark, another traveler finding rest. Above you, the night sky stretches wide and endless. Stars burn like tiny candles of their own, each one a keeper of forgotten stories. Some gleam white, others faintly blue, others golden, like sparks from an ancient forge. You gaze upward, and it feels as if you could drift upward into them, dissolving into constellations, into time itself. A soft mist begins to rise along the street, wrapping around your feet, curling over the cobbles like breath. It's cool but comforting, a silken blanket drawing you closer to the quiet. The sound of the city fades. No wheels, no footsteps, no clocks, only the whisper of the wind. Through lace curtains and far-off chimneys, you walk a little farther and reach a small stone bridge. Beneath it, water glimmers faintly, catching the moonlight in delicate ripples. You pause there, lean against the railing. Watch the reflections move like dreams on the surface. The air smells of wet earth and roses. You inhale deeply, hold, exhale slowly. Each breath carries away another thought, another fragment of waking life. Your shoulders sink. Your mind loosens its hold. The stars above begin to blur softly, as if the sky itself is closing its eyes. The moon, half hidden behind a drifting cloud, becomes a lantern guiding you home to rest. Somewhere, a church bell chimes once. The sound drifts through the mist, low, round, and slow. It echoes for a moment, then fades. Afterward, there is silence. Complete, beautiful, endless silence. You let yourself float in that stillness. No time, no place, just a weightless calm spreading through your body. Your heartbeat is slow, your breath a whisper. Each thought dissolves like mist into the night. You feel the world dim around you, the bridge, the street, the lamps, the sky, all folding gently into darkness. But it is not empty darkness. It is soft, safe, warm, like velvet drawn over tired eyes. Now there is only your breath, the faint rhythm of the night, and the comfort of knowing that everything is at peace. You are part of the quiet. You are the quiet. As you drift deeper, the voice of history fades too. The stories of empires, of kings and philosophers, of temples and markets, all settle like dust upon the shelves of memory. They will wait for you there, waiting patiently until you choose to dream them again. Tonight, there is no need to remember, only to rest. Let the starlight carry you. Let the warmth of centuries cradle your thoughts. Let the hush of time itself guide you home. Breathe in, peace. Breathe out, release. In this stillness, the candle burns once more, not in sight, but in spirit, a quiet, golden spark deep within you, reminding you that light never truly leaves. It only changes form. You feel it flicker in your chest, steady and calm. You are safe. You are warm. You are free, and as sleep takes you. The last sound is the whisper of the night, soft, endless, kind, saying, "Rest now." The story is done. The cobblestones fade. The stars dissolve into velvet. The night wraps you completely, and you drift beyond thought, beyond time, into the vastness of sleep.